This is probably one of the craziest sequences of events that I've ever seen in politics. I mean, 3-4 days ago, all we were talking about was the president's debate performance and whether he was going to get tossed off of the ticket, right? That's not even thought of anymore. You have an assassination attempt against the president, which is like not even enough like to even talk about it that way. If you went into a Hollywood pitch meeting and you were like, I've got an idea for a movie about a presidential assassination attempt where the assassin fires and it just hits his ear. It doesn't hurt him really. It just hits his ear and blood comes out. You get thrown out of the pitch meeting. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen.
He turns his head just so at the very last second to make this possible, where we are talking about an assassination attempt.
Yep.
Instead of an assassination. And we'll be breaking it down later, how this possibly could have happened. Jason Butchell will join us for all of that. But this weekend is going to go down in history, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody is going to remember where they were. So how do you describe just the overall feeling right now with people online in your community that you see coming through? And it feels a little different today, does it not?
It does. I mean, what you just talked about, that the president could have been assassinated on live television, changes the country forever. And I don't want to know what that looks like, frankly. Thank God the man is okay. Thank God he was able to do this. And the presence of mind in that moment to just have a bullet go through your ear, you're an inch away from dying.
Yeah.
The presence of mind to stand up there and raise your fist and show America that, and your audience and your base, that not only did this not hurt you, but we're going to keep going, is one of the most incredible moments, the most badass moment I've ever seen.
I want to dive into this moment further because I think that only a statesman like Donald Trump, right? He had The Apprentice. He knows what television is like. Yeah. He knows that he should be sending a message to his audience. And the fact that he has a bullet hole now in his ear, right? And that where they're saying that it's all bandaged up, but there's a chunk of his ear missing, according to him, to have the presence of mind to stand up and tell your Secret Service detail to wait so that you can do this. To me, it shows why Donald Trump is not like any other president or presidential candidate that we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, if you're considering voting for Donald Trump and then you see that happen, you're now walking through a wall of fire to do it, right? And I think that I also think it's going to hit people outside of the Trump base. You know, I mean, look. Number one, obviously the most important issue is he okay? Not to mention, the man who actually did die in this. I mean, there's a lot to talk about that's real and serious. And of course you have the ramifications on the country. Way down the list is politics. I grant you that. But I think you're going to see a real bump for Trump when it comes to the reaction here. It may be short-lived. We're going to see a reversal. Of course, the media is going to all of a sudden forget about all the rhetoric that they're claiming to be nice and calm that they want now. That's all going to go away in the coming weeks. But you do expect people who even, I think, wouldn't consider voting for Trump crossing that line for the first time, because there is something really, truly American about how we react to something like that in the way he reacted, which was, screw you. No, you're not going to do this. You're going to try to take out our presidential candidate? Screw you. I think I would feel the same way if they were trying to take out a Democratic presidential candidate. There'd be a part of me that was just like, wait a minute, I don't like that guy's policies, but I'm still an American. We get to make these choices, not you.
We were looking at all the stories that were coming out from over the weekend, and NBC News had a story last year about Tucker Carlson and others saying that they were, it was a conspiracy theory when they said we were heading towards a potential Trump assassination. Another conspiracy theory now that simply isn't true because we witnessed the events from the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, you go back and you find the New York Times fantasizing about this in 2018, about what it would be like, how it would go down. They wrote an essay. There are clips of, it was Joe Scarborough from just last year, where he's talking about, if the president becomes president again, President Trump, that he would just be executing people however he wanted to. What do you think? What signal does that send to people? You call somebody Hitler over and over and over again. It's going to create an impression among some unstable people that the correct moral thing to do is to take him out. I mean, if you think about actually Hitler, what happens to people who try to assassinate Hitler? Tom Cruise makes movies about them, right? These people are praised. When you try to take out Hitler, it's generally viewed as a good thing. We look at those people morally, positively throughout history. Instead, now we have a situation where this person who obviously is not Adolf Hitler is feeling the ramifications of all of this rhetoric. And it's disgraceful. And it's almost like you have this like 48-hour window where the media is going to pretend they're nice and not do it anymore. But that's changing.
And we saw Joe Biden come out 3 different times and give speeches. It took him a while for the first one, and now he's making up for it for getting that second speech and third speech in. And he's trying to make sure that the rhetoric is toned down, which is what we would need out of a leader in the White House. I don't care what you think about Joe Biden. That is what was needed to be said from the White House this weekend. The unfortunate part is that we aren't seeing that rhetoric toned down yet.
It's not real. It's not real at all. I mean, even the speech that he made, he did this thing where he was going to say, like, look, we need political violence to end on both sides. That's a good instinct. You should say that. The way you actually do that is you give examples. Maybe you give examples from both sides. He went through a list of examples. Every one he pulled out was something that you could theoretically blame on the right. It was January 6th, the Michigan kidnapping potentially of Governor Whitmer, the harassing of election officials. He went on and on and on. Couldn't come up with Kavanaugh almost being assassinated. Couldn't come up with a baseball park shooting. Steve Scalise in that whole situation where, if those agents were not there, 10% of elected Republicans in Washington, D.C. could have been murdered.
Yeah, if Steve Scalise specifically wasn't there, he was the only one with a security detail there that day. So if Steve decided, I'm not going to play baseball today,
it's over for all these other people. You can't remember any example. This was not an Oval Office speech the way it was supposed to be done. This was a campaign speech. This was a guy trying to transition from, I know the other day was bad for my campaign. I better figure out a way to get out of it. I thought it was honestly disgraceful, Jill.
Well, it was disgraceful, Stu. You are absolutely right.